try that. All right, welcome. I have Martijn Westerholt here. He is the keyboardist, founder, and leader, main songwriter for Delain. I knew I'd do something wrong. It's always the nerves. Delain, and welcome to Progressive Rock Central. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk about your latest album, Dark Waters. And I'll let you say hi and then jump into it.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hear your questions, and hopefully I can answer them.
No, definitely. All right. So Delain has been around for seems like forever, but just kind of tell us a little bit for those people that have no idea who you are. I don't know how many. There's probably none, but just in case, um, just tell us a little bit about how you got started, how you emerged, and how you're evolving.
Yeah, well, I started in another band, Within Temptation. My brother started that with my sister-in-law, Sharon, who's the singer. And I played in there for 5 years, and then I got mono disease. So you get
Mm.
tired all the time, and I had it for a very long time. So I couldn't stay in the band, and also the band was really exploding at the time. And I was, of course, kept following them and its family, and so the connection is really strong. But I had to take a step back at the time, and after recuperating from mono, I started Delain, and for me it was kind of a challenge to myself to produce and record a record myself and see if I would be able to do it. And I did not plan that that would become my job. And here we are, like 20 years later. So yeah, then Delane's first album started as a project, and that kind of developed into a band. We were signed by Roadrunner in the time of the project, and they asked if we could do some shows, and that's why I developed it to a band. And yeah, Delain is a band ever since. Of course, we had a couple years just before COVID. We had a split in the band, and we tried for a year to figure out if we could yeah, continue working together. And yeah, we worked really hard in trying to find solutions, but sadly, we were too far apart. Some people wanted one direction, another wanted another direction, and for example, Charlotte said, "Hey, if we can't figure it out, then I'd rather focus on my own career." So there were like three directions people wanting to go, and so that didn't work out. And then I was the only one left, and I had to think about, okay, is this it for Delain, or am I going to continue? And if so, how will I continue? Well, in the end, here we are as a band still, and now we just released our record Dark Waters. That's the summary of Delain, a little bit in a
The short,
nutshell.
the short version, yes.
Yes.
Um, Tell us a little bit your influences. Who are some of your favorite bands?
Ooh, that's a good one. There are so many. Well, a lot of different things. First of all, I like, for example, Rammstein.
Oh yeah,
Uh, they're fantastic. I love Nightwish. Um, but also I love like some smaller bands. Like there's one from Canada, the Birthday Massacre, who I really like.
oh yeah. Heard of
Also, Beast in Black, for example, also a band I really really love. But also like huge artists like Queen, Freddie Mercury, uh, Pantera, I like as well. So a lot of different things. Yeah.
Surprising you didn't say a lot of keyboard bands, but anyway, no, yeah, the difference between you and Xander, we'll talk about Xander in a minute. They're kind of a guitar oriented, although they do have keyboards. and you guys are more keyboards, but you also have a lot of guitars as well. And I look at the comparison between you two, and it's great to see both of you are back also. So let's talk about that. Tell us about the tour that you're planning for Dark Waters throughout Europe, starting in April.
Yeah. So this year, of course, a lot of artists are touring again because the pandemic is
Thankfully.
kind of a thing of the past. So, and also the band is kind of reformed. So I didn't want to push everyone in the deep water, so to say. So this year we will start a bit like a bit easy, doing the yeah, like the biggest festivals and some small touring. And one of them is the European tour. We will do some British shows, French, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, of course. And that's it. And we're already working on a next run for early next year. But that's it for, yeah, in Europe, that's it for now, what is announced. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. And again, you're with Xandria, Illumishade, and both of them opening for you. Tell us a little about your connection with Xandria. Like I say, I have been following both of you for a long time, but tell us how that relationship or bond got together. Is it just because you're label mates, or is there more
Well, actually,
connection?
I know Marco from Sandria since our tour in America in 2014, I think. We toured with supporting Sonata Arctica, I think it was. And they were opening, and we were kind of the main guests, and then Sonata, or it was Camelot. No, I think it was Sonata. And that's where I met Marco. And for the rest, we're label mates. And with Marco, I kept a little bit in touch during our pandemic period. And yeah, and we already booked our European tour. And yeah, I heard that they wanted, they would love to join us as a guest, and that's a bit how what the connection is. For the rest, there's not how do you say, it's not that we know each other for years and years, or you know, we see each other every week. No, but we know each other from the past. Yeah.
Have you heard some of their album, The Wonder's Still Waiting? Any favorite songs off of that, or?
Yeah, I heard it, and actually, my wife Robin, she's a big fan of Sandria. One of her favorite albums is the one with Manuela Kraller. That album, I think that's,
There you go.
yeah,
Never
that's
World's End.
never worlds. Yeah, exactly. Um,
Yeah, that's an
so
awesome.
that's a connection a
And
bit.
by the way, she's coming back. I don't know if she'll, Manuela, I don't know if she'll go back into metal, but I don't know if you get a chance to take a look her up. But she's back. She's trying
Ah,
to
okay.
trying to
Oh, I
sing
I will
and
tell
do stuff.
Robin that because she lost her voice.
She's got a
So
great.
yeah, for the rest, of course, I saw their singles and listened through the album with Robin. But I'm always very bad with titles. I always forget titles. So I can name you, oh, that song or this song, but it's really cool stuff. It's well written, well produced. There are real choirs from Bulgaria in there. I heard from Marco that they recorded choirs in
Yeah,
Bulgaria.
yeah.
So yeah,
Do you use choirs on yours, or is that
yes,
okay?
yeah, we
Yeah,
recorded choirs in Finland. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I'm going to get to your album here in a minute. We just got a few more things, but yeah, while we're talking about that, and then I haven't heard much of Lumishade yet, but what I have heard, I do like. How did you choose them as your one of your opening bands, and any favorite songs off of their album that hasn't been released yet? Elegy.
Actually, I saw a couple singles on YouTube, But for the rest, I don't really know them. We just got them offered through our agent, and
Okay.
of course, I know the singer and another band member are also in Elevati, another band that is pretty well known in the metal scene. But that's kind of all I know.
Okay. Um, do you want to talk about any other festival shows or any other shows? There's a chance. Just any
Um,
announcements or-
well, I'm really happy that we returned to both the Belgian festival Graspop and Wacken in Germany,
Excellent.
uh, because those two festivals are in the metal scene very important and huge festivals. In Graspop, I already played there for 25 years almost. I played there twice with Within Temptation, and I think three times with Delain. So it feels a bit like coming home. And Wacken, we also played with Delain, I think, three times already. So this will be the fourth time. So we're gonna play on main stage. So yeah, it just feels like yeah we're back, and
Definitely.
that's really really cool that we have those festivals this summer, because those are really important ones. Yeah.
Tell us how you met Diana Lee. Wonderful new singer. Thanks for finding her. She is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a funny story. So I asked around if people knew singers that could be interesting to check out. But what I also did is uh, I went to YouTube and I looked around for people who had channels where they do covers of songs, and one of those channels was the one of Diana, and I was really impressed with what I heard. And yeah, she was sang so beautiful on some covers there, and so I thought I have to write down her name and at a certain point contact her. So within a week from me writing down her name, she left a comment on a post of Delain on Instagram saying, "Hey, if you ever need a singer, you can always contact me." And I thought, wow, what a coincidence. This is really like a sign. I think this is a sign that I need to contact her. And I did that. I got in touch. She didn't expect it at all because her comment on Instagram was kind of more kind of a joke. She didn't really expect a serious response. So she was really yeah surprised. And so we had really nice contact online, and I decided to send her some delay material, some old songs and some new songs. I was a bit mean. I sent her some really difficult songs to sing because that's what I would send her songs so she can sing on them and send them back. And I sent her the songs Masters of Destiny and Burning Bridges, and the vocal ranges go yeah everywhere in that song. And for me, that's perfect because then I can really hear what she can do. And she sent it back in a day, and I thought like,
Well,
oh wow, that's really fast. And I downloaded the material, and I started push play, and it knocked me off my chair because it was so freaking good. It was like ridiculously good. Um, so I asked her like, "Hey, can you come over to the Netherlands?" I invited her over so she could meet with other band members, Sander and Ronald. And
she was in Romania or
No,
Italy.
she originally she's born in Romania, but she lived almost all her life in Italy.
Yeah.
She also briefly for a couple of years, she lived in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her English is really good because of that as well, I think. She lived in Ottawa. But for the rest, she lives in Italy, so she can speak a lot of languages.
I bet. Yeah. Like a Marcelo Bolo.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Bulgia. No.
So yeah, she came over to the Netherlands and met the other guys, and we really yeah it connected immediately, and now we're here.
All right. Well, let's talk about the album. Hideaway Paradise is an excellent opener and first introduction to Diana's voice. First time I ever heard it. and it's also one of the album's best tracks. Describe the feelings that you captured so well that we all need a place to escape, especially after COVID, the war in the Ukraine, and all the hate and violence that seems to permeate the world. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really good in the lyrics themselves because my wife wrote them. I'm really about the music. So if you want to have the deeper meaning with the lyrics, then it's better to ask my wife about it. But when it comes to the music and the general theme, of course, I can tell you a lot about that. And Hideaway Paradise, I thought was a perfect opener because it really sounds almost feel good,
Yeah.
and indeed, the title "Hideaway Paradise" is very apt because of everything going on in the world. Um, I think it's also a good opener because it showcases Diana really well immediately. She gets introduced here. It's normally it's not a song that would typically be an opener, but if you hear it in connection to all the other songs, it makes perfect sense, and it's a great start of a build up that's going on the album. And yeah, I really like how that song turned out, and I think a big part is thanks to Diana.
All right. Moth to a Flame is a very poignant song about addiction of all kinds. From where did the inspiration to talk about that issue evolve?
Yeah, that's a song where Diana wrote the lyrics, and she said that it was inspired, yeah, more like from daily life too. Like everybody in life has a moment that they get drawn to somebody that is not of a very good influence, but still you get being drawn back, like indeed like a moth to a flame, and that's kind of what it's inspired about, and I bet that a lot of people can connect to that feeling. Yeah, that is a special song because Diana also wrote lyrics for two songs, and this is one of them.
Well, and the second one was, I think, Queen of Shadows. And she described her inspiration for the track as a way of helping others to recognize that there's a way out of the dark shadows of depression and strife that we all self perpetuate. But it's another poignant song about one of the largest issues that people face in the world today. How do you think we can overcome this darkness and begin to avoid it in the future? I wanted to ask her, but I'll ask you.
Actually, this is written by my wife, not by
Oh,
Diana. But
all right.
um, but yeah, it indeed depression is a very how do you say, hidden thing, but a lot of people cope with it,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult. Also, a lot of people get victim of it. You even see like suicides, and that's terrible. Yeah, and I think the most important is that we we watch each other as friends, as family, and yeah, don't lose sight of people, because yeah, you can really help people, and make sure that their mental health is good, and see if you can help them with that, people who struggle with that.
All right. Invictus is another almost, I call it a fight song. Was the war in Ukraine an inspiration? And let's talk about your keyboards. The keyboards throughout the album are top notch, by the way.
Thank you.
But on this song, you really draw out a lot of uh, highlighted emotions with your keyboards. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. And this song is kind of turned out into a mini rock opera. Also, the lyrics for this song were written by Robin, my wife, and part of it is inspired by the difficult period that we experienced during the split of the band a couple of years ago, and it's of course dramatized, But that's where the inspiration comes from. And it's incredible because this song we have multiple guests. I bet you're going to ask about it later on. But
No,
we
you
only
jump in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, we have here two guests. Paolo Ribaldini. He's in it also an Italian, which is a coincidence, by the way. And of course, Marco Hitala, the people know from Nightwish. He left Nightwish like 2 years ago. And only in vocals we have, I think, 200 tracks. So I
Yeah,
think
no, you're right.
Paolo alone already recorded 140 tracks of vocals. So we never in Delain's history had a song with so many vocals. And that, of course, makes it huge. And Marco is on there because Marco is a reoccurring guest in Delain's past. So he's kind of part of the furniture, and he's a good friend, know him for years. And to me, it was also important that this album would show the Delain DNA, the sound of Delain. And I think also Marco has, with such a huge history in the band, was great to have on the album. And it was an honor because actually he said he would not do any guest requests. He wrote that in his goodbye letter from Nightwish that people should. But I know him so well that yeah, we saw a chance to do it, and I'm really honored by that.
Excellent. You wrote an excellent closer in Underland. Agree with your advice not to follow the black rabbit down the hole. But how else can we plan our day to avoid the negative influences which so pervade this world? What are some other ways?
Oh yeah, again, these are all lyrical questions. I
I'm
kind
sorry.
of can't answer it.
All
It's
right.
not my specialty.
All right. Well, just how do you avoid darkness in your life?
Music and loved ones. Yeah, yeah, music and loved ones. That's the a very important thing, and my faith as well. I think those are uh, all factors in my life to avoid darkness. Yeah.
Perfect. If you could choose some other songs off Dark Waters, those are the ones I picked. Are there any others that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, well, also is a nice one to talk about is Mirror of Night, because this is a song where we also have a guest. That's the guitar player of Within Temptation, Ruud Jolie. And for me, yeah, it's really nice because, of course, of my connection to Within Temptation. And, he was involved in this song by playing guitars on it. We also got help from the former drummer of Within Temptation, Iver de Graaf. He helped us with arranging the drums. So yeah, there's quite some connection to Within Temptation on this record as well. And another song I really like how it turned out is Too Cold. Since the Human Contradiction, I think that's our fourth album. We work with an orchestral arranger, so I write orchestrals, but I deliver them to an orchestral arranger, and he's from Finland. Mikko Mistonen is his name, and he tweaks those orchestrations and programs them, and he does a phenomenal job. And I think on this song, The Cold, you can really hear that so well, how he uses the brasses and the strings and string section. And yeah, I love how this song turned out.
Thank you very much for including the instrumental versions of the songs on that second CD. Love that. Love listening to it. It's. I only wish that Xandria had done the same thing. I know they have a separate package, but it would have been nice just to get it. But thank you for that.
Oh, of course.
Will there be any new solo or new projects that evolve out of this, out of Dark Waters, or probably Diana's thinking of maybe doing solo, or no? You
Um, No, I think everybody is focusing very much on Delain. Um,
Yeah.
I do have another side project already, but that was before this album came out, and that's called Eye of Melian. And I do that actually with Miko Nustone, who I just talked about, and with Robin, who writes the lyrics for that as well. And there we have the singer Johanna Kurkela. She's Finnish singer, and people might know her from Auri. That's another band where people from Nightwish are in, and she sings there as well. So that's my side project. Yeah, and for the rest, we are really focused on Delain. There are some orchestral versions of songs coming out later this year, from Dark Waters. And for the rest, we're going to focus on touring and being on the road and getting back to people, and we really can't wait for that.
And this other band, do they have an album coming out? The side project you're talking about?
Yeah, we released, I think it was in May of last year, and we
Okay.
did started writing again, but I think it will be 2 years, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. If you had all the money in the world and could write a concept album, for which concept or subject would you most enjoy writing music?
Wow. Wow. Then I need to think of a subject. In my case, I love science fiction. I'm a big Trekkie, but also like Star Wars, and so I would write something about that. Of course, there's already somebody who does that. Another Dutch artist called Arjan Lucassen. He does great.
Lucasen, yeah, oh yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I like sci-fi, but I also love fantasy. I'm such a huge fantasy lover. So
Have you been on a Lucasen album?
no, not me. My brother was. He did Growls on the Electric Castle,
Oh yeah,
uh, but not me. No.
yeah. He's fantastic. He's got a new band out now.
Yes,
Going back
and
to the 70s.
our former guitar player Timo is on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I looking forward to that this year. That's another thing. Well, who would you like to collaborate with? Any band or artist, if you could choose anyone.
Well, let's rule out the factor death. So people who are dead. Then I would choose Freddie Mercury, Queen. I would love to do that, but of course, sadly, it's not possible. Dio would be another one. Um, Rammstein, I would love to. They are fortunately, of course, alive and kicking. Um, what else? Yeah, I think that's it for now. Yeah.
Okay. What are your favorite albums of all time?
Um, Favorite albums of all time. That's a good one. Once Nightwish, I think is a fantastic album. Um, Images and Words, Dream Theater, I really like.
Yes.
Queen's Reich Empire, I really like. What else? Marillion, I like.
Yeah.
Misplaced
So,
Childhood.
Misplaced Child. I for me it's Script of the Jester's Tear. Both.
Oh, I love that too.
I mean
With
they're both
Problems.
so it's impossible to choose one, but yeah.
Yeah, I love the song Problems too very much.
Yeah.
Fish, yeah, no, it's great. So yeah, just to name a couple.
All right. And then I know it's crazy to even talk about it because this album just came out, but are you gathering songs for next album? And
I started
you,
writing actually. Yeah,
oh,
I
good.
started writing. We have less than a minute, by the way, so we can
All right.
continue, but then we have to
We're,
call again.
well, we're almost done. All right. And any projection on when that might happen? 2 years? The new
Uh,
next album.
yeah, I think 2 or 3 years. It's funny because yeah, I actually here behind me, I'm already writing stuff. So,
Excellent.
so it's really funny. I wrote this afternoon, and it's a wonderful process always. Love it.
Creating is fun. And concept album?